Hey there, everybody. This is Adam Zundel for CollegeSoccerNews.com with the Men's College Cup preview. Last week, we heard from the women ahead of the Women's College Cup, and we want to extend our congratulations to Florida State and the Seminoles program for winning the national championship, and also congratulations to the other teams making the College Cup, including Stratford, who made it to the final before losing to Florida State 5-1. But congratulations to all of those programs. And as I mentioned, this week we're turning our attention to the Men's College Cup. And this week, the 4 participant head coaches met with members of the media. So we're going to hear from each of those coaches, and we're going to get things started off with the first matchup, which features West Virginia against Clemson. And we're going to hear first from West Virginia head coach Dan Stratford and his thoughts about the Mountaineers making the College Cup.
Yeah, it's a special feeling. Obviously, as an alum of the program, it means that little bit more. To see the growth of the program and see where it's come in 20 years. So incredibly proud. And again, the nature of the season and the way the seeding worked out, the capacity to obviously play at home the whole way through and have sold out record crowds for us for the last 3 games has been really, really special, but created a pressure to feel like we absolutely had to get to this point and make a Final Four. Which is a funny thing to say given the not so rich tradition of this program. So now that we're here, I really hope we're going to enjoy ourselves and be incredibly fearless going into the Final Four.
All right, here's Coach Stratford on the team's mindset after getting to the College Cup and something that they've never done before. How has he approached and handled this uncharted territory with the program?
To some degree, I think it was more to make sure that the occasion and the potential of winning the Elite Eight game didn't necessarily entirely feel like the pinnacle. And that, for some time now, it's kind of been, if you like, historic moment or accolade after accolade, whether it was the 16 win mark or get into the Elite Eight again. And now, obviously, now we make it to the Final Four. I wanted the attention to be on the cumulative of that, right? The holistic being that we want to win a national championship and we have this incredible platform to do so. So the idea of them simply applying themselves the right way for 2 weeks sounded to me quite feasible, quite attainable for the players. And again, we broke that down into how many games, how many training sessions in that period of time. Hopefully to help them understand that it's quite a realistic, achievable thing, especially when our standards have been as consistent as they have throughout the season. So what we're asking for is very much something they're capable of. And that will continue, hopefully, if we can get the victory on Friday and then obviously enter the rest of the weekend.
2 more sound bites here from Coach Stratford. The first one talking about Clemson and comparing the Tigers to West Virginia's previous opponent, Loyola Marymount.
Yeah, very different. A different system, a different formation that we'll have to face. And then a team that has an abundance of quality depth, looks incredibly dangerous driving forward and quite aggressive in terms of their intent to progress the game in an attacking fashion. So we're still working through the process of determining exactly where their strengths and weaknesses are, and as a result, what our plan will be. But first impressions are that they're a very well-rounded side, and again, at this stage, you're going to have to play the rest of the best in the country, and the Clemson certainly look like that.
And here's the last soundbite from Coach Stratford, and it's about pedigree. Obviously, we've mentioned West Virginia is making its first College Cup appearance, while Clemson is making its 10th. What kind of difference is that going to have on this matchup?
No, not necessarily. I think Clemson are ahead of us as far as its tradition and obviously the capacity to create the platform where they have sustained their success. We're an aspiring program that want to get to 10 College Cups and have that type of tradition here as well. I think the ambition of the young men that I get to work with here understand that. And really feel like the job isn't quite done yet. So, as I mentioned before, we know we're going to have to play quality teams. We already have. But, whether this was Clemson's first or 10th, I don't know that plays too much of a role when it comes to this weekend. Perhaps you could argue if there's still players remaining from that 2021 group that obviously have that experience, that may play a slight role. But I think right now our guys are just excited for the opportunity, excited to get to Louisville, and looking forward to the capacity to showcase what we can do here at West Virginia.
Up next is Coach Mike Noonan from Clemson. Obviously, the Tigers have had a terrific season running the gauntlet of the ACC, which has proven to be the nation's best conference this year. Here are his thoughts about making it to the College Cup.
No, we're very excited, obviously. Congratulations to everybody else who's made it. I think it's one of the more difficult things to do is to go through, the tournament to get to this point. So many good teams. So, happy that we're able to represent Clemson again. The team's playing pretty well at this point, and through the course of the season, I think that we are deserving to be in Louisville.
And here are Coach Noonan's initial thoughts on the Mountaineers.
No, I think that I haven't gotten a lot into it, Holmesy, as far as the scout goes. We've been dealing with a lot of details today, but we're starting to get into it. Any team that's only lost twice in that conference, it says a lot. They've beaten Marshall. They had great rivalries with them. They're not going to be phased by much. They've played in front of big crowds. It's a senior team, so they have they have the pieces in place as well. So we expect a great game.
We've already mentioned that Clemson is playing its best soccer here down the stretch. So, what has been the key here for the Tigers in this last month of the season?
Well, we've been able to get some consistency. It's been hard throughout the course of the year. We've had different lineups and due mostly to injury. A couple early on where we had some red card suspensions, which was difficult to put all 11 players. But since about the semifinals of the ACC tournament, we've been able to be pretty consistent with our lineup, and I think that's huge. And at this time of year, it's really, really important to have everybody on the same page and not be chopping and changing your lineup.
Two more sound bites here for Coach Noonan. The first one about what kind of matchup he expects between West Virginia and Clemson on Friday night.
Yeah, this should be pretty exciting for the fans. Both teams like to score goals and do score goals and come in different ways. I think the West Virginia's a very good counterattacking team. They get forward very, very quickly. We get goals from a lot of different places. Obviously, Usman Silla is our leading goal scorer, but sometimes it's our wingbacks, sometimes it's our center midfielders, sometimes it's forwards. So it should be exciting for the fans because I think it's going to be a pretty open game.
Last one here for Coach Noonan. Coach Stratford from West Virginia was asked about legacy and pedigree coming into this matchup on Friday night. Coach Noonan was asked about his thoughts on the same concept.
Yeah, no, we don't really focus on the opponent when it comes to how many times they've been there or not been there. We're focused on the opponent for the quality of the team that they are. And the same for ourselves, right? It's at the end of the day, what I told the players is 22 players, a ball, and a referee, and no matter where you're playing, that's going to consist of the game, and we've got to play well, and we've got to take our moments and prevent them from taking theirs.
Now we turn our attention to the second semifinal on Friday night. That's Notre Dame against Oregon State. Notre Dame making its second College Cup in the last 3 years, and we're going to hear from Coach Chad Riley. First up, his thoughts about some changes he had to make in the lineup in the quarterfinal round and how he sees that coming into play on Friday night.
Yeah, I think you look a little bit at training, right? And guys that are looking fresh and sharp at this time of the year. There's a lot of miles on the guys, and then you look at the matchup and you see you want to make good starts in the NCAA, and we felt that group would give us a chance to make a good start in the game, and they did. And so I think it'll be the same this next game, just sort of evaluating and seeing Oregon State and seeing who we think will give us a good chance to get off on the front foot will be the biggest part of our decision making.
Of course, an interesting subplot into this Friday night semifinal is the fact that Oregon State head coach Greg Dalby is a Notre Dame alum and has a good relationship with Notre Dame head coach Chad Riley. So let's hear Coach Riley's thoughts about that and the dynamic between the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played with him for a year, and then my first year coaching at Notre Dame, he was the senior and our captain. So I'm very close with Greg. I think, I've known him for a long, long time now. And, he was obviously a great player at Notre Dame, just real steady, solid, but competitive guy. And then when I came back as a coach, he was a great captain for us. So no, there's no surprise that he's done a great job in his first year coaching.
And to put a finer point on it, Coach Riley was asked about how the two helped to build that Notre Dame program to help it get to where it is today.
Yeah, I think so. I think we really wanted to establish ourselves as a consistent kind of NCAA tournament team. And at that time, I think we made steps towards that. So we certainly felt like we did sort of help the program climb a little bit on some of the things that the coaches and teams before us did. But we certainly helped them take that next step as we transitioned into the Big East, and then yeah, you feel a lot of pride in what we were able to accomplish during our time at Notre Dame playing together.
Next up is Coach Riley's thoughts on the ACC. We've already mentioned that it is the #1 conference in the country. So his thoughts about playing in the ACC and how that prepares you for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think it's a huge testament to our league because I think, there's a lot of good teams out there, but I feel that playing in the ACC just prepares teams week in and week out for the NCAA tournament and just to get better, because it is, everybody in the ACC looks at their schedule and it's always a little overwhelming to start the year, but you just know if you can, pick up some results and keep improving, that you can end up in a really good spot. And I think, I don't know how many times in the last sort of 10 years we've had two teams, but it's been quite a few. So I think it's just a huge testament to the level of play in the league that we have two representatives in the College Cup again.
And last one here from Coach Riley, his initial thoughts about Oregon State and his thumbnail sketch on the Beavers.
Yeah, no, like I said before, they're a real collective team. I think they've got a leading goal scorer that's done well, that transferred from the Midwest, from UW Milwaukee. So we're aware of some of their individuals and basically style of play and different things. And but I think there's no surprise of what they've done, because I think they're just really solid without the ball, and they've got weapons that can finish chances with when they're on the attack. So I think we have a good sense of them, but I think, like I said, we'll get into kind of the nitty gritty as the week wears on.
And rounding things out here for this show is head coach Greg Dalby of Oregon State. A year of firsts for the Beavers, the first year for Coach Dalby, and making their first appearance in the College Cup. A terrific run. So here are his initial thoughts about Oregon State making it to the College Cup.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited to be here. Really proud of our team. I think what they've accomplished is very impressive. The mindset's been, one game at a time, but when you step back and look at the pathway to Louisville, I think our team has performed exceptional under pressure, and I believe we're right where we should be. We're peaking at the right time, and we're really excited to play Notre Dame on Friday.
We heard from Coach Riley about his relationship with Greg, and now here are Greg's thoughts and memories of their time together at Notre Dame.
Chad was a really good leader. I think these are things I talk to our team about is senior leadership. I think is incredibly important for the younger guys, and I was the beneficiary of that from Chad and some of his classmates. Really serious about winning, really competitive, cares a lot about the game, and I know all those things to be true today.
A couple of different things here in this soundbite from Coach Dalby. Talks about the team's run and mentality through the NCAA tournament, and he was also asked about if his team is an underdog, being the only unseeded team left in the College Cup.
There's a ton of confidence. The team's really excited. To be honest, at this point in time, I don't think they know much about Notre Dame. We really have a one game at a time mentality. We had the privilege of knowing our first opposition, Seattle, because we had already played them during the fall regular season, as well as Portland, an in-state rival. So I think that familiarity really helped. Very little travel, no travel for our first game, an easy bus drive for the second game. There was a ton of excitement to play SMU because it was a new team, especially in the Pac-12. You play everybody twice. So I think our team was craving that opportunity and the challenge to go on the road. We've been very good on the road. I think a record speaks for itself. When we've not been at Oregon State, and then to be able to go to Chapel Hill, beautiful facility, a lot of history in that program. And I think it really heightens the group's focus. And, we talk a lot about that. And I actually heard the tail end of Coach Noonan's press conference, and I couldn't agree more. In 2013, when I got to go to the Final Four as an assistant coach, you have to deal with a lot of distractions. And that's a lot of the messaging our team is receiving right now is focus on the most important thing. And that's preparation. And that's, our locker room, that's in-house, and all the other stuff is exciting. And I think fun for our players, but it cannot be a distraction. So we're really excited. At this point, it doesn't matter what Notre Dame seed is or Clemson and West Virginia. We're all four of us are in a great spot, and we're really excited to compete and try to put a good performance together.
A couple more thoughts here from Coach Dalby. The first one, what makes this team so special?
Yeah, what I would say, it's easy to get to this point in the season and think that it was easy to get here. We had to wrestle through our schedule. I mean, there was 10 games this year that we did not win. And as a coach, that's so many opportunities to improve, to get better, to hold the mirror up in front of your group. And we've had to do that. I think we've played an incredible schedule, and I think we're reaping the benefits of that right now, having to go on the road and play at Portland, play at SMU, play at UNC. And I think that makes your group tougher. We have a really tough group, a really talented group. And I think right now they're really confident. And I truly believe we're playing the best we've played all year right now. And as a coaching staff, I think we're really proud to keep the group focused. And the message all year was like, can we get a little bit better? Can we improve? And take those lessons and apply it to, these big moments, these big games, and really execute.
And lastly, from Coach Dalby, his thoughts on facing Notre Dame and what he's seen from the Fighting Irish this season.
Yeah, I think they're a team that will punish you if you're making silly mistakes. I think they're unbelievably disciplined. I think they can score in a lot of different ways. I think they possess the quality of bending but not breaking. I have a lot of admiration for how Chad and their staff set up their group, and we have to be ourselves. That's really important. But we also we need to make sure we make really good, consistent, simple decisions in the game. I think that will be really key for our guys. In the next couple of days, we'll begin to share more, show more to our players, and some of the things that we think they should be excited about. But for now, I think big picture, I think those are the things that I think Notre Dame does well and what makes them really good.
All right, everybody, that's going to go ahead and do it for this edition of the collegesoccernews.com podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to log on to collegesoccernews.com for complete, comprehensive coverage of this year's College Cup. Thanks again for downloading and listening. Enjoy the matches. That's Friday night at 6 with West Virginia and Clemson, followed by Oregon State and Notre Dame at 8:30, 9-ish. So enjoy the matches, and we'll see you soon with another episode of the collegesoccernews.com podcast.